Go live.
It says you are live.
No.
It says it. It says right on it we're live.
Just give it a moment.
Yeah, it looks like we're good. It looks like we're good now.
There we go. Now we're working.
Okay.
Now we're cooking with.
Apologies to the YouTube VOD watchers. The Twitch is good. The Kick is good. But the
Why
YouTube.
did that one break? That one should have broken first.
I mean, the Kick doesn't really have anything going wrong with it, so. Okay, good. Great. Amazing. Apologies if you are listening to the YouTube VOD. Things have randomly died during the pre-show from the OBS side of things. Specifically, it sounded like YouTube streams died, not just for me, but multiple people, and that stream dying seems to have killed the other streams at the same time on my end. So, yeah. Anyways, I also then discovered that YouTube does not just let you restart the stream and reconnect it to an old stream that you had scheduled for dumb reasons. So the link also had to be updated. But supposedly, we are live again, and it is working again. So, supposedly, this is all working. So the pre-show went from a nice discussion about used books and how they've traveled through a whole bunch of different bullshit, like libraries and having people writing them, to me trying to figure out YouTube bullshit. Okay? It was very nice.
Explaining things.
And now it's in.
To like 5 people
and now it's in like a detached
Limbo.
YouTube VOD that will probably be deleted anyways. So. Because I can't merge it with the other one and have it also remain as a live stream video. I'm not going to be uploading it as a separate video on the channel. I don't know. I'd considered in the past making a separate anime book club channel and just having everything live on there. But at this point, I don't really want to.
They were edited more, maybe. But...
Which they will be once we start doing the next series because of the whole Spotify thing. So they're gonna be edited down anyways. But also, we've been doing this for 100 episodes, and I don't really want to move it, because any of our existing listeners or people who have watched the VODs, they've all had the algorithm recommend them to this channel directly. So we were to make a separate channel for it. It's going to be a whole new thing to build up, and I don't know if I want to do that, but maybe in the future. We'll see. Anyways, we are live again now, and supposedly YouTube is not going to die on us. For those of you who were not here during the discussion with the preview in the previous VOD that died, it's just us three this week. For various reasons, people have either gotten too busy, on vacation, just not feeling the series, and or I don't know, they just couldn't make it this week. So it's just us three.
Which is very, very on point with the books, because one by one, they get taken out.
In the first loop, it was... Oh my god. In the first loop, it was very quickly killing all of them. Now we're taking our time with them.
We just, we Americaned it right up. It worked real good.
All right,
okay, I'm about to start ranting. We need to do.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna. All right, stop. No. We're half an hour late. We're gonna start it. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Anime Book Club. Very on time, episode 101. Here to continue our talks about Kagerou Daze. But before we start that, let's introduce our guests that we have for this week, of which there's just us. So from the top, Arimia, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. I like shonen shit. Naturally, this week, I'm going to recommend D-Ray Man.
Base?
The most recent chapter released 2 days ago, technically yesterday in the time zones. And it's still peak, okay? You get one chapter every 3 months. Yes, that's 4 chapters a year.
Oh my god.
That's no more than 100 pages, if you're lucky, a year, okay?
Shit.
And you're gonna enjoy those pages.
Oh,
they
am
are
I?
peak, okay?
Is that
they
correct?
Are peak. They are peak. Wonderful art, fantastic characters, insane plot twists. It's not a battle action shonen, okay? That was her fooling everybody at Shueisha, okay? It's a soap opera, okay?
Okay.
That's why we're reading this. It's a Victorian soap opera, okay? And sometimes they fight. It's a tragicomedy, okay?
So it's a comedy.
Okay, and it's very good. And everyone should read it.
Wow.
I'm rereading it again.
How many volumes is that now?
28 in English, 29 in Japanese.
That's a lot.
No clue on when volume 29 will be translated by Viz, but it'll definitely be poorly translated when it is.
That's like more than 2 volumes. That's a lot.
I actually want to see, in the last volume, volume 28, they had several major fuck-ups with the translation.
Holy shit.
And typesetting, the translation, multiple things, and I want to see if they actually, because it's online on the Viz Vault, all 28 volumes, and I want to see if they actually fixed any of the mistakes when they scanned it in. Probably not. Probably not. Read the fan translations, but it is all on Viz, Shonen Vault, whatever.
Viz Shonen Vault, whatever. Go check that out.
Whatever it's called. Just read it. It's peak.
Just figure it out. You can figure. You have Google. You got your phones. You can ask Siri or whatever to find it for you. I'm sure it'll do it. So you can do
You know, without love, it cannot be seen. If you learn to love something, the path will open up for you. It's the same thing, okay?
I'm always saying this. I'm always saying this.
No, you're not, Chad. Name me one time you said this.
Right now, I just said it. So jot that down. Jot that down, Shadow. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Arimia. Thank you so much for that. Next up, me, Borg, aka Wolfborg, aka Chaplain, aka the best anime book club host ever, despite YouTube trying to stop me and hold me back. All right. It's trying its best. Ever since they heard that we were going to be releasing on Spotify soon as well, they were just like, no, shit, we can't have them leaving. And I keep trying to tell them, we're not leaving. We're trying to stay here. And then they do that shit and it makes me want to leave. Okay. YouTube, what the fuck? Anyways, we're going to be, doing Kagerou Daze this week, but I do want to go through my recommendation. First off, I would not recommend getting into Mahjong. It will ruin your life and take away all of the hours in the day for you. I got into it a few months ago, and I've been getting more into it again recently. I have a whopping 270-ish hours logged in that game on Steam already at this point, and that's just the hours that I have logged on Steam, not also on my phone for Ricci City Mahjong, okay? It's a lot, all right, but I made it to 4th Dawn this week, okay? Hopefully I can make it to 5th Dawn without losing my mind. We'll find out about that. So yeah, I would recommend not getting into Mahjong, but if you do get into Mahjong, let me know what your ad is, and then we'll suffer together, okay? As a family. That's what we do here. As for what I would recommend, actually recommend, not anti-recommend, yeah, you should.
Also, D. Grayman.
Whoa, I hear D. Grayman school. No, I would recommend. I don't fuck it. Gnosia.
Hurry
we
up.
watched. Hey! What are you, the Game Awards wrap it up sign guy? What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? All right.
I'm Jeff Keighley in the going. Come on.
Go watch
Come on, wrap
Gnosia. I watched one episode of it. It's Among Us space with cool looking characters. I don't know. I only watched one episode. It might be shit. I don't know, but good luck. There you go. That's my recommendation. Next up, Ava Shadowman V4. Introduce yourself.
I am Shadow. The thing I don't recommend this week is 100% Duel Monsters 1. I have like a multi-page essay on just the setup.
Wait, what do you
before I
mean
start the
Duel
game.
Monsters 1? Are you talking about Nightmare Troubadour?
No, Duel Monsters 1, like the first Yu-Gi-Oh game, the one that was like made while the manga was still in the Duelist Kingdom arc.
Huh?
Is it just actually called Duel Monsters?
Yeah, it's Duel Monsters.
What
Is
year is
it
it
like
from?
what is it on that collection on Steam?
Yes, but also you can't get 100% in that version because you can't trade from other games.
Oh.
Is it like a GBA game?
No, it's a GB game.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Actually, it's from '98. It looks like so.
Dang.
I unfortunately, to find that information, I opened up one of those .wikia pages, which then attempted to load 1,000,001 things at me at the same time and made my browser slow down for a second. But I closed it immediately. Okay, I fucking hate those fandom.wikia sites and whatever they do to put 1,000,001 different ads and weird shit on there.
Seriously.
I like.
But I
it's
hate
terrible.
too is like one of the best FGO websites that I check in on sometimes is a fandom.wiki site, and it's so annoying. But they have like some of the best stats and stuff for figuring out combinations for Fate Grand Order.
Yeah, they have.
I hate it.
Yeah, they have very unfortunately like taken over a lot of series for being the place to go to find information about it, and then immediately made their site worse and worse and worse over the years. And then now with Google Chrome being like, hey, we're gonna stop allowing certain types of methods of ad blocking, which really just ruins things for those websites too. Like, it's just a terrible experience all around. So, anyways, Shadow. So you said you don't recommend that. Is there anything you do recommend?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. Okay, I would
Okay.
explain what that is, but I think that would take 2 separate pre-shows just to explain it.
Okay.
If you're willing to let me through it, we can do it next week, but not today.
Not today. Not today.
We're already late
Tomorrow,
enough as is.
not today. Today's too hard.
Imagine if we went through the whole rant and it was in the pre-show that's getting deleted.
I'd kill you, Chef. That's what I do.
No, you'd kill YouTube. It's not my fucking fault, okay?
I'd make you highlight the entire Twitch VOD.
Uh-huh. All right, anything else, Shadow?
No.
Okay, sweet. Amazing. And that's all we have for the guests for this week. As we said, for various reasons, a lot of people weren't going to make it this week, but we're here, and that means we can discuss more of Kagerou Daze. So, volumes 9 and 10. I will start off by immediately saying, I think I've said for the past 2 weeks, I was like, we got to be near the end of this loop by now. And we're still not fucking done with the loop. It feels like we're about to get closer.
Oops.
I'm
afraid.
I'm getting that feeling too, but that really annoys me. You're a time loop story in which you only had one extra loop, because I have to imagine. Okay, these volumes as well went through a lot of backstory stuff too, which I expected there to be backstory stuff, but I also expected us to be done with that loop by now, and we're getting more backstory with the reset of the loop or whatever. I don't know what's going on with that, because it also sounded like in one of the afterwards, one of them mentioned when he talked to the editor, they thought maybe they were only going to have like a year and a half or something like that, and they've gone on longer than they expected, and yet somehow we have not set a new loop yet. I don't understand what's happening with this, but all right, whatever. People are dying again now, so I have to imagine, because I keep thinking to myself, exactly. I'm thinking to myself, we're supposed to be stuck in those 2 days. This has been the longest second day ever of all time, because we keep stopping to go through flashbacks. It didn't
feel like much happened. Like, I'm also
in the real time.
Now I'm reading physical. Well, no, just everything. Like, I have these physical now, so I can see how thin they are. They're pretty thin for manga. The only ones thinner that I have are like Sasaki and Miyano, which are 4 commas that have been slightly adapted into a regular manga. Slightly. But they're pretty thin, and we had flashbacks, but it just felt like not a lot happened this week, and I'm disappointed. Like, the entire second volume was cute, but it felt really unnecessary to me. Like, I didn't. It's not that I hated this week's reading. It's just that I kept going, what's the point? Why are we here? What was the point of going this direction with it? Because I thought that this manga adaptation would be June going through and going like, okay, well, we're going to have all these different scenarios for them. We're just going to try a bunch of different things out. But it feels like we're not really doing that.
There's a lot of backstory than actual story.
There's a lot of backstory, but then we're also just not really trying a lot of different things out. And the things we're spending a lot of time on. Like, seeing Ene and Haruka meet at the hospital instead of school was interesting, but it went on for so long. And
it did. I was like, we already did a whole backstory between them. We're getting another one, and it only really was there to set up the continuation where that same person then also met up with Shintaro, and then the continuation of that being somehow he also killed himself before going to school with Aine. I guess that's supposed to be the different timeline thing here. I
can't
don't.
believe it.
But
Shintaro
then
fucks up everything.
somehow we don't even get to see how Ine died, or if she did.
Yeah.
That feels like a big gap in this. Oh, we're just gonna gloss over that, huh? Okay.
I mean, I was very confused for a number of reasons, but number two is okay. There's other issue with the whole difference in this timeline too. I mean, and I said this in the last sessions as well, where I'm just like, I have to assume that a lot of things prior to August were not going to be changed. Otherwise, this time loop story would be difficult to follow. But now I'm getting evidence that even past events are drastically changed, not just because of that, but also because supposedly when Ayano and the other family members died in a car accident or whatever, which is what we found out about in a reveal this week, that included the dad, who was supposed to be who killed Ade. So I'm very confused.
I'm like, wait a second. That's well, there's two hands, and I mean that could both be her mother's, but they both have a ring on the finger, very clearly, looking like a wedding band. So I guess that's both of her parents.
And supposedly Ayano only survived because she had she came back from the Kagerou Daze with the favoring eyes, and that's where she got mad at all of them, basically blamed all of them, and then they ended up leaving. But supposedly the dad died, but the dad was supposed to be a part of Aine's origin story. So now I don't understand how. But not this time. Who's the other person that gave her an origin story here then? And okay,
Yeah, I can only assume that she heard that Haruka killed himself, so she just killed herself. That's literally all I can assume now, because the guy who killed her in the other loop is dead, and we just cut from her finding out that Haruka's dead to her being Ine on the computer. So I guess she killed herself, and that somehow digitized her form. So let her be a virus. Question?
Look, Ari.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the avalanche happened before NA died, so the doctor got some. Never mind.
Nope.
I mean, because we know that can't be the case too, because at this
All right, yeah.
In the first loop, the teacher is talking to Momo. But wait, that was that in a flashback? No, that wasn't in a flashback. That was Momo's day in the present. So, if he is, I mean, we do see Ayano back, but she's back because she dealt with the Kagerou Daze and came back with the favoring eyes, which means she got out there and was revived or whatever through that process. But I don't.
So it's.
Would that imply that if he died and came back, he would also come back with the eyes, or is he just gone? I don't understand.
See, now I'm assuming that in the first loop, the teacher did all of that because he had lost his wife and or his daughter, Ayano,
that was my assumption.
Was using Ine and Haruka this test to try and bring one of them back. So now in this loop, he's dead. What? Because it's not only that he's dead, but also the reason why she was killed is gone. And to preface all of this, even, I am totally fine with them going back and changing stuff before the actual time loop. I'm actually okay with that for this series. For Umi Neko, I wouldn't have been okay because that's such a it is
because that's supposed to be tied around one specific murder mystery. Yeah.
That is so structurally founded on what happened prior.
Sure.
That is the scaffolding. But for this is much more of a kind of supernatural story. So I'm fine if the creator wanted to go back and just try different combinations. But I don't understand some of these combinations.
I
It's the more we're talking about it, the more I'm like, wait, huh? Why?
because I'm very confused by it. Because like I don't think I would mind us going back and changing events prior to the August days or whatever. The looping day are we in August or July? I forget. If we were changing,
August.
okay, so we are in August. Okay, if we were changing the past events, I would be okay with it if we had enough time to develop that. You're presenting me with backstory of the, and again, technically speaking, it might try to do some weird thing to try to explain away this stuff in the later volumes. I don't know if I'm going to get an explanation that will satisfy me. To be honest, if for these inconsistencies we're seeing, but I guess I'll find out. But my main issue is changing the past events prior to the loop that we see happening in the present day would be fine if we had enough time to flesh that all out, but we're developing the backstory of these characters and then changing their backstory, and or at least my impression is that we're changing their backstory. And so, like, from my perspective, I don't know who this character is anymore. Like the backstory I might have learned before might have just been undone by us having this backstory here and all that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I like that, and I don't think now. I think I'm very very comfortable with saying I'm probably not going to be satisfied with how we try to wrap this all up in the end. I was nervous about that for the past few weeks. Now, I don't, because there's already the one issue of this is a time loop story, and we seemingly are only going to have two loops: the original one and now this one. Because I can't imagine maybe they go to a third loop, but the third loop is just like something that's done in like an epilogue chapter, and everything is fine. It's not like developed or whatever from there. I'd imagine. It seems like the climax is either it's going to be on this second loop and either continue past the second loop or just bring us to a third loop for like the everything is resolved thing, if we even get into that at all. We haven't even gone into the fact that the characters don't realize it's a time loop yet. Like, we don't realize this from any perspective yet, which is very odd for a time loop story to not even have its characters notice that yet when we're so close to the end. We only have 3 volumes left, and like that's oh, I don't know how I feel about it from this stuff. I will say again though, I don't mind the backstories that we have. My problem is, like, I see how many volumes this ends at. I know we don't got time for some of this shit. We already did backstory for Ana and Haruka meeting up. We didn't need, knowing each other. We didn't need the prior backstory of them meeting in a hospital as long as it went on. They could have just easily been, yeah, we met at the hospital, and then she got discharged, and then I hung out with Shintaro, and then I made friends with Shintaro. Because I understand it was trying to connect Shintaro having trouble or trauma related to the fact that his new friend that he made in the hospital, killing himself the day after he left or whatever. Now, and it, adds towards Shintaro's character and, like, another reason why he didn't want to go outside for a while. Because he was already going through a whole bunch of stuff about how he didn't want to go outside for various trust issues that he has with people in general. Now, the one time he's tried to open up and make friends with somebody, and he thought to himself, maybe making friends isn't so bad, that friend ended up killing himself, and he blames himself partially for it. And Momo's tried to calm him down from that. So, I don't mind how we introduce some of that stuff. My problem is we spent so much time before getting to there that we didn't need to spend time with that stuff getting to there. Which is funny, too, because I was reading one of the afterwards, and one of the afterwards, I think from the character designer of one of them, was just like, I was very excited to see more of Aine in a hospital gown, because I like her design in that. And I'm just like, okay, but that took up so much time, and it didn't really add anything. Towards the overall plot, at least. Like, again, I wouldn't mind that if we had plenty more time to develop everybody else and the plot. I think my biggest issue is the fact that we're still on the second fucking loop. Why are we still on the second fucking loop? Why aren't we done yet? We're going, and they're trying to, explain these flashbacks as things that are, related to what's occurring in the story. But I don't remember what sparked that whole bit from happening. I remember we had a bigger flashback about Ayano and that's where we get into the whole car accident stuff. That was related because Ayano had to explain why all of the Mikakushidan fucking hates Ayano. Who, by the way, I was immediately confused, and then it was kind of resolved later, I guess. Because we were under the impression that Ayano was supposed to be dead, but she's there. And then this week, she met up with not Kido, Kano. Was that his name, Kano? And he was just like, "Oh, you're alive then, huh? All right, well, see ya." Like he,
I didn't know this.
and I mean, like he was very much like mad at her in general. Like did not want to associate with her in general, which we know eventually why that's the case. Even that kind of felt sudden.
Yeah.
So supposedly what happened was Ayano and all of them they brought back Mary. They were continuing the flashback where Seto found Mary in the woods as kids. Mary's now living with them. The mom, who's researching Medusas, finds a diary that Mary brought with her from her stuff from the house, and in it is Azami's original diary, the original Medusa's diary, which she knows is not like a fake or anything because she could read all of it and then comprehend all of it and then realize when she was done that it was not written in a human language. So clearly there's something supernatural about this thing, and it was talking about all these stories about folklore research that
it's right around language barriers.
Right. And she's like saying it fills in a lot of blanks in her research and makes it make sense with all of it. And this random girl has it on her. So it seems legit to her. And so she's researching more into it. And her and Ayano, after Ayano hears her talking about this to the husband, they're just like, okay, we'll try to do what we can to try to remove the eye abilities from all of them, because things could get very dangerous with them when they grow up. Somebody might die. And so they're like, let's take a trip to her house together. On what day should we go, honey? Oh, look at my calendar. August 15th. That's gotta be clear. Let's take a trip then.
Happy birthday, Valor.
So it was Kenjiro. That was his name, right? Whatever. Kenjiro, the mom, whose name I don't even remember if it's been brought up, and Ayano, and Mary. They all go on the car trip, and supposedly there's an accident. I think it was raining too. Supposedly there was an accident, and it looked like
Mudslide.
Yeah, and it looked like Mary and Ayano survived. Well, it sounded like Ayano was taken through the Kagerou Daze and then came out of that with the Favoring Eyes ability, but the mom and the dad were killed in the accident. That's how it appears to us, at least. And so Ayano is so upset about this that she tells Mary to fuck off. She blames her and then immediately goes home and calls them all, like, says they're all to blame and that all her family's dead because they were all invited into the house or whatever. And so they all just leave. Which, obviously, I feel like it's very sudden for that kind of reaction to happen. But also it's probably a result of being stuck in the Kagerou Daze. I don't know what the process of the Kagerou Daze is for her, but
I assume, well, she said that she was stuck there rewatching Azami's memories.
Yeah.
And realizing that it is because of Azami that this accident happened, that I guess it was kind of foretold or something. And so she blames it on Mary because she is a Medusa. And these two volumes kind of made me realize that I wish this series didn't have anything to do with mystic eyes. They kind of feel superfluous to me. They feel just like I would enjoy it more if it wasn't about these special eyes and these kids just had some weird abilities and it wasn't like some kind of weird thing. Like, you know, if it was just about some kids with some supernatural abilities who keep dying, you know, instead of some grand mystery of Medusa and people dying with and ending up with these cursed eyes, so they have to band together to find out the eyes, but then also like figure out how to stop the eyes, and there's this whole group of them with the trying to figure out the eyes. It's just like I feel like it would have been a lot simpler without the added on eye Chuni part and just some Chuni abilities. They still have the abilities, but it's not all this Medusa backstory because we've wasted a lot of time on this Medusa stuff, and like even in these volumes. Where Ayano's just got, talking about how it's all Mary's fault and stuff, and because of the car accident and such, and a lot of this, if the series was longer, I probably wouldn't be feeling this way so much, but it's just one of those where I'm feeling like there's some lost opportunities here, because also like God, what happened in these volumes? Like, not a lot happened. So and I read these earlier today, but I'm still struggling to remember.
I read them yesterday. I'm also struggling to remember.
No,
Because I remember what happened in
most of it,
10.
yeah.
Because 10 was literally just the hospital stuff.
Yes.
Momo died and hospital.
Yeah.
Volume
Whoops.
9 was pretty much all. Yeah,
The-
okay. So Volume 9 was literally all flashback with Ayano,
Yeah.
and then cut to her telling Shintaro, all of that.
Yep.
Like, because we spent all that time on that backstory, which I didn't really care too much about. Like, okay, all right. And then volume 10, and just another Ane Haruka, but we didn't even get any new information about them. So I know you are kind of disgruntled by having different backstories for the characters.
Yeah.
And I'm okay in this sense. Now, obviously, a person's backstory reflects how they grow up to be.
Yes,
that
exactly.
is pretty much just a known psychological thing.
Yep.
Your past dictates your future. Not that you are set in stone, but things that have happened to you will affect you. Wow,
Sure.
shocker.
Especially
But in this
trauma.
sense,
Like if this was a case of it just like all roads leading to them being the same person, that would be a different thing, but that's not thematically what we've been focusing on here, and we don't even get to see that if that is the case. If it was doing something like that, I would understand, but that's not what we do here. So I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, I do take it as that way in a very simplistic form for at least some of the characters, like for Ane and Konoha.
Sure.
Where their roads, they're still the same person, 98% like the same person between these, even though they had wildly different backstories. But even though we spent an entire volume on this new backstory, we didn't really get to learn anything new about their future. Because we don't even have a reason for why Ane died in this loop, but we
Yep.
also don't have any kind of clues or information on what happened in the previous loop where we saw Konoha kill everyone all of a
Yep.
sudden.
Yep.
Like, if you're going to give them a new backstory, if you're going to focus an entire volume on them, why not give us some kind of clues about what happened previously? Why did he become a mass murderer all of a sudden? Wouldn't that have been good to try and give us some kind of information about?
Well, so here's my assumption about this, and this has become more potentially clear to me based on how this volume ends. It ends with a reveal about Hibiya. We were under the assumption that Hiyori was given the clearing eyes, and the clearing eyes is the bad guy, I guess, that is trying to kill everybody. The reveal that we've shown here is that Hiyori was not given the clearing eyes. Hiyori actually has the focusing eyes, which is supposed to help find people or things. And they just, as we had joked about last week, just stumbled upon Kito's body, and that's why they had the blood on them, and then they just ran away mysteriously when the other people show up. So, misunderstanding, which then went to revealing that Hibiya was actually the clearing eyes person right before he decided to throw Momo off the top of a building, I guess. So my assumption is with the different loops, different people are being given, some people are being given eyes in different orders. And so my assumption was that Konoha ended up with the clearing eyes in the last
Yeah.
loop, which caused him to want to kill everybody. But I mean, in the last loop, we also hadn't met Hiyori or Hibiya, so I don't even know what that, like, how the order of these things work, if it's depending on how they die or whatever, because Konoha was set up specifically through like some weird science experiment thing from the evil teacher. That was specifically set up with that in mind, and then he ended up in a whole different body and everything for that. Still no clue if that's going to get explained. We got 3 volumes left. I don't know if we got time for them to explain that stuff, but I'm of the assumption now that that whole first loop, which is probably related to the original light novel stuff or like original like music video stuff, like that's probably a timeline that's known there for those events happening, and that supposedly this loop starts off the own original stuff for this manga, and that because it's its own original stuff for this manga, it does not feel like it needs to take the time to connect it with all that other stuff. It's just saying, you know the story already, now you can just enjoy this alternate version, and if you don't understand why these things are happening, well, that's on you for not checking out the other things first. That's where I'm feeling like this is leaning towards, and I'm going to be very upset with that if that is the case. Because, like, it's one thing for a multimedia project to have a whole bunch of different things that, like, add on to each other. It's another thing for a multimedia project to fully depend on you having checked out another thing in order to understand some events happening in this thing.
Well, but here's the thing, like, I watched a lot of those music videos. I mean, it's been quite a few years, but I still remember the contents of a few of them.
Okay.
And even with that cursory knowledge, I'm still just like, this feels like bad choices from a writing perspective, with your time management and the amount of volumes that you have. This just feels like bad management on that part.
And I
Because
will
it is partly like, having all the other parts of the project, the light novels, the music and such, but then also it's, what are we doing with this manga to make the best use of our time with it, with the medium?
Yeah. I will also add on to the point that you brought up about the eyes and how you didn't really think that we needed it to be incorporated. I agree, because of just the mere fact of most of their abilities don't have to do with their own perception of things. They mostly mess with other people's perception of things for like 3 of the characters, and then for everybody else it has nothing to do with eyes. So let's go over this real quick. Kido and Kano's ability mess with other people's perception. You, like, with Kido, you can't notice her. She's physically there, but she messes with your perception of being able to notice them. With Kano, he messes with what you see. Like this hand actually could look like a foot or whatever. Things like that. Mary's eyes will freeze people in place. Like, that's not doing anything for perception anywhere involved. The favoring eyes sends emotions to people. That's messing with somebody else's perception, I assume, or in a way.
Mary's eyes get a pass though because Medusa.
Her eyes do. No, I will say her eyes get a pass because it is the only case of the eyes physically needing to be involved with this process. I don't know if the eyes need to be involved with anybody else's process. Fucking Seto can read minds, supposedly without even looking at the people. He ran into the woods because he kept reading people's minds, okay? Nothing to do with his eyes. Their eyes just happen to also turn red. Like, and the focusing eyes, maybe the focusing eyes help because maybe it physically shows you them. I don't know. I'm not sure how the focusing eyes work, but like most of their eyes abilities don't actually like need to actually be used as eye abilities. They could just be used as mental abilities. So like it's weird that and like the only way I could understand that is, and they give lines about this too in the backstory too, about how like they don't like their red eyes, how it makes them different, how it makes them look like a monster to people. I will also say, I think at some point they gave them hoodies and said, you can use these to hide your eyes. I'm like, that doesn't It's not. That's not how that works. At some point, she's like, "You could wear a blindfold." Technically speaking, you could. My answer to not wanting to have the red eyes is just wear contact, like color correction contact lenses or whatever. But they were children at the time, so they probably wouldn't know that that's a thing. I don't know.
Where's the Clark Kent Kryptonian glasses that changes your eye color?
You know, but I mean, the big thing here is that like thematically, I understand the point of them having the red eyes and talking about it, making them feel like they're different in the monsters or whatever. Thematically, we can understand that. Like, but in functionality, it doesn't really do much for their abilities to happen. The eyes they're specifically set as eyes because of the Medusa, and the Medusa, I assume, is set up this way. The original Medusa, Azami, had all these powers inside of her, and then with the Kagerou Daze stuff happening, it split up these abilities into different people for reasons. Okay, so it's splitting up the abilities. I assume the reason why we made it like 8 or was it 10 eyes or something like that? 10 different eye abilities is supposed to be because I'm just like, snakes only have 2 eyes. I don't remember them having 10 eyes, but I guess like a Medusa in like folklore would have multiple snakes that's
part of their hair.
Is typically the snakes are like part of her hair, and then like okay, so like supposedly if you got like 4 snakes in your hair plus your 2 eyes, like that would add up to like 10 or whatever. I assumed it's something like that.
Bad.
And that's the only reason why I can assume we get to there and why the Medusa is involved. Like, but she didn't look like that at all, or at least she transformed herself immediately to not look like that at all. And then the eye abilities don't do anything as like eye ability. The only one that traditionally does something like an eye ability seemingly is Mary's freezing eyes or paralyzing eyes, and then that's probably it. Nobody else's abilities I think actually deals with their eyes looking at things or whatever. Like, I don't know.
It's for me. It's less about like them having the whole eye thing and more the backstory that is tacked on to all of that.
We don't need all this lore, you know. I feel like
because there's been because we've spent a lot of time on the backstory behind all of these eyes, specifically, with Medusa and Azami and the stuff. Just if you want to have the eye stuff just to be toony, sure, go for it. But then because it's the eye stuff, we have all of this backgrounds, and it's kind of taking away from what I thought, I should say, would be the main part of the story, which is the time loop of August 14th and 15th.
Yep. The time loop
singular.
The time loop singular, by the way. we had one. So I would definitely agree with you when it comes with the like some of the eye stuff, but like again, some of this stuff I don't know if it's like a difference between what it more focused on in the light novels versus what it more focusing on here. Like, I'm not sure. But I don't know, like I can understand the like feeling different from that or whatever, but it's like an identifying trait that you can use to identify with other people who feel the same as you, which is why they end up all meeting up together. But if they feel like they're turning it into a strength because they have their superpowers or whatever, but then we're also getting to these powers actually potentially being dangerous, and so I don't, there's a lot of stuff you could think of. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time to focus on these because we're not even getting to focus on current day them with these abilities. We're mostly focusing on the backstory of not even like everybody in our cast having the eyes, just the Mukakushidan. So like just Seto, Kido, Kano, and like Mary. Like Ayano didn't even get the eyes until after we jumped forward or whatever. So like we only really see them having to deal with the eyes growing up. Everybody else in our story is like pretty new to having these abilities, because I assume Aine has some form of eyes, which is why she's awake, probably the awakening eyes or whatever it was called. Konoha has some eyes that I don't remember if we went over what they do. Hibaya's evil now. Hiyori can find things. Like, I don't. I'm scared we're not even gonna get into the other eyes. We've just focused on the Mikage Shidan's things. Yeah.
Well, like we're
What
spending
does
now.
Kono do? He can jump good? That's cool, I guess.
He can jump. He can jump.
Like, okay, for one, we did not have enough deaths in these volumes. We had one.
We need more murder.
Discounting
It's true, we do.
the flashback where both of Ayano's parents died.
Yeah.
We only had one death in these 2 volumes, and that's not enough. That's not enough. It
True.
needs
Gotta
to.
get those numbers
See,
up.
Soul says that I'm right. I mean, I already knew that, but
You're not wrong. It's very funny.
we needed more deaths in these. I was like, okay, you know, we only had like what 1 death last week with Keto. You know, it was sad. You know, we all like Keto.
Wait, she's
and-
not dead. She's cooking dinner. What are you talking about?
That's true. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, but it'll ramp up because we're surely near the end of a loop, right?
No.
Nope, we got one.
Unless he
but
pulls out a gun again and starts killing everyone. That could work too, you know.
that should have. Well, like you start off.
Start
You
blasting.
can't start off with a loop ending with a mass murder like that, and then have the next loop be very slow with the death.
The problem, no,
very confident. Okay.
The problem was it's much harder for a child like Hibaya to get a gun. Okay, and then Konoha or Kuroha, who was also working with mad scientist Kinjiro or whatever. So you know. It's probably a lot harder for Hibaya to get a gun. Also, it seemed like Hibaya. I mean, true. I mean, I do want to bring that up though, because you are correct. Okay, you are obviously correct when it comes to that. But I want to talk specifically about Hibaya. Supposedly would have gotten the clearing eyes at around the same time when Hiyori disappeared. Because Hibaya has been with us like this whole time, from what I understand, and now we're having the reveal of Hibaya has actually been deceiving us all the whole time. He's actually the clearing eyes, and then we see him throw Momo off the top. Well, we don't see it happen. We just see Momo falling off the top of a building, and then Hibaya's like
he's laughing.
pretty
He's
much
a
about to
joker.
go kill Shintaro next, or planning to. I want to know what's been taking Hibaya so long to kill these people. What's been the holdup here? What's been the holdup?
Small child, he doesn't move very quickly. Okay, he doesn't have much movement.
Konoha's he's a schemer, while Konoha is just murder.
Done.
Just get it done. Efficiency, I should say.
So Hibaya wants to take his time with
know?
it. Okay, I mean, like, I'm just saying, TikTok, Hibaya, run out of time here on the loop.
Yeah. It's nighttime there. Like, come on, get with like.
Get on with it.
What are the next 3 volumes going to be?
I don't know.
Because it's nighttime. We're clearly nearing the end of this time loop because 2 people have already been killed off. So
he commits big murder and loop 3.
So loop 3 is going to be like 2.5 volumes. Like,
look, we're done with the backstory. Hopefully, okay.
Oh, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Look, okay. Do you want more backstory or unanswered questions?
Volume 13 ends with, if you want to find out what happens next, check out the Kagerou Daze anime, now up.
Oh, fuck me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with that. I'm pretty annoyed with how much time we're spending on the backstory, not as much time progressing the actual narrative of things happening with that. But I can only assume that's the case because whenever we reset these loops, we now also change the backstory too, which also makes me think if we do actually have the loop end here and we like start a 3rd loop before the series ends, I'm just like, okay, but everything you just sat me through is now undone. What am I'm not supposed to know if any of that is still there anymore. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, that's what they've done to me so far. That's how they set it up. Now, the only way they redeem that is if they come up with some bullshit ways in the next 3 volumes, which however they do, it's not going to work out for me, I don't think. If they come up with some bullshit ways for all those things to also make sense with the first time loop, and if they do, it's not going to be satisfying with however they do it. I don't think. I can't imagine a way that they have that make sense without being bullshit. For example, we had all those questions about, oh, Mary in the woods all those years with her mom, they never got outside. How did they eat? Like, how did they survive? Answer
That
this
actually made me
week.
mad.
Answer this week from Mary is just, oh, eating? Oh yeah, I haven't done that in many years. They just don't have to eat? What are you talking about? What?
That actually made me mad.
Like
She is 3/4 human, and you're telling me she doesn't have to eat. I said it during previous book streams. I think when Mary was introduced with Seto, that whole Seto finding her, I was like, she's probably like, all these woodland creatures are around her. They clearly revere her because of her grandmother, and they can talk. I'm not sure if they can talk to her and if she can communicate with them, but they are clearly sentient animals here in this forest. So they probably got like a little Snow White system going on where they just bring her food, maybe either to take care of her or as offerings. No, she just doesn't need food.
doesn't need it. Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. I was mad at that. Not like really mad, but I'm just like, why?
It's a dumb excuse for that.
You've got a solution here.
Yeah.
You've got several solutions. You could just say, oh, there's actually like berries growing inside the house. We've got like a little plant thing that just never dies,
Grandma had some crazy magic, all right?
The context...
Yeah, like, your grandmother is magic.
Exactly, yeah. The context in that scene was, like, she was saying that line, which I took a screen cap of because I thought it was funny, but it was also very dumb for that to be the reasoning for that. The context for why she's saying that, and we have to establish that, is just because she's trying to showcase... We're showcasing to Ayano and her mom that very clearly this is not a human. Whatever child has been brought home by Seto is clearly not a human. It's another one of the weird supernatural children that we brought in, and we got to figure out what's the deal here. But
Sol said she ate small bombs.
You know what?
No, not the authorities small bombs.
It's
never small bombs. I'll have you know. Okay, he petted it. Okay, he had
what if
pet on it.
You're saying that's how he kills Mary? That we just feed her some small bombs. I haven't heard you haven't eaten in years, right? Here, try this. It's very tasty. It's a candy. I know it says TNT. Don't worry about that.
It has explosive flavor.
Yeah. It's called a claymore. So just try this out. Okay. So yeah, I don't know, like, dumb thing for that, which again, I don't even know if it was necessarily meant to be an answer for that, but it is an answer for that as well, and it's very dumb. And that's the kind of example of me saying, if they do try to find a way to have this second time loop connect with the first one in a logical event sorted way, I'm not gonna be satisfied probably. Like, I was already kind of annoyed by the whole time we were just assuming that Ayano was dead. Because we were told that there was a funeral for her and everything before, and supposedly she was still dead and everything, but now she's here, and not only is she here, like, it's not a case of she was in the accident with her family, and then the Mukakushidan kids never saw her again. They saw her again specifically for her to yell at them, and then for them to leave. Like, so they know that she didn't die, but when they meet up, he's just like, oh, I guess you're still alive, huh? And anyways, I hate you now. And like, anyway, we're meant to know, okay, so she hasn't actually been dead. She's been dead to the Mukakushidan specifically. Okay, well then, I don't know. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, okay, is there a weird supernatural reason why she's alive again still or something? No, she's just alive. And I'm like, okay, well, what am I meant to do there with that? And also, Shintaro, when... There's supposed to be a connection between Shintaro and Ayano, at least from the first loop, that's no longer
Not this
there?
one, Chef.
Or is that there still, and we haven't seen it? Because I'm trying to piece together.
That was several things you've said here. So first, her being dead. When she was first introduced in this loop, where she meets Hibiya, she looked very otherworldly.
Yeah.
And I thought that she was some kind of ghost or being. Because as we established in the other loop, she's dead by this point, or at least we were led to believe that. And so when she appears here, because she's acting very weird.
Yep.
I was just like, okay, so she is some kind of being. Maybe she's possessed or something, like her corpse is possessed, something like that. But then we find out in these volumes, no, she's just normal. She's just alive, just hanging out. Okay, a little disappointing. And then we don't have a connection between her and Shintaro, which I'm surprised of, but not because of the first loop, but because that's, at least from my understanding of the Kagerou Daze series, that is a very core part of it. Is, because you've got Ene and Konoha's backstory, but then you also have Shintaro and Ayano's backstory, namely with the song Heat-haze Days. And so I'm surprised that we don't have any kind of backstory with them or connection with them in this loop. Because it seems very much like they have just met each other.
Yep.
And that's it. So just another thing where I'm kind of slightly disappointed. Like, to be clear, I don't hate this series. I don't think any of us hate this series. I am just a little disappointed.
I will say I was getting hints that Ayano may be the only one who recognizes the differences in the loops, because it seemed to me like Shintaro was meeting her for the first time, but Ayano may know Shintaro, because I think she was giving some throwaway lines like looking at him weird before telling him things to be like, okay, maybe I can trust you with this or whatever. Or like I remember there being some weird throwaway lines where it's like, okay, maybe she recognizes Shintaro, but he doesn't recognize her, which maybe there's still some weird time for there to be some weird memory trauma repression thing that happens with Shintaro, because I have to assume it's not the whole finding out that Haruka killed himself from the hospital thing in this loop, because that didn't seem like I've lost all my memories of friends, people I'm currently going to high school with type thing. I mean, actually, technically he's not going right now, but I was just confused with the timing of things. It sounded like he was Shintaro like had a school admission thing for, what was it, the second semester of high school or something like that, something to that effect. I thought it was like a high school admissions paper that was in his room when he was crying about Haruka being dead or something, which made me think, okay, so then you would have met Ayano by now then, right? Because in the original loop that we saw, which could be different now, in the original loop they were hanging out as like kids in like middle school or something like that, and then they ended up going to the thing that Ane and Haruka were like hosting, the gaming thing. That's where they were together for that. So I was like, so then we're in high school now, so they would have known each other before, but something else happened as well. But then again, he had stopped going to school and had trust issues in this timeline too prior to that, so maybe there is still more backstory to get into for him somehow at this point with that.
Somehow.
Yeah. Now, yeah, go on. You go on.
If you are right about Ayano essentially being a looper in this sense, the person who knows that a loop is happening, I would be disappointed because she has yet to do anything to stop or thwart the loop or do anything with it.
Like, she's doing her
and
best.
the characters I usually find most interesting in these kinds of setups, whether it's a true time loop or just like a kind of a revival thing where characters are reviving, maybe amnesia and such. I find the characters that have memories of the events but kind of play along with them to be the most interesting. But it's only because you know how do I word this? She has yet to do anything to really signify that she wants to stop the loop or where her priorities lie. Right now she is just, to me, acting as if she doesn't know what the loop is. So that's what I am assuming, that she, just like everyone else, does not know that there is a loop going on, because we have yet to see what her actual priorities would be, because she just kind of comes into these and then is surprised, like she is also taken aback that Hibiya is the true culprit of this loop. True culprit of the loop in Kagerou Daze. You know what I mean. I'm not wording it right, but to me, it's not compelling enough with Ayano's stuff. If she were to know more about the loop.
Yeah. All this being
I
said,
didn't
like,
word that right, but
no, I think you're good. Yeah. I mean, my whole thing with this is just that, like, sure, this is a mystery story, right? So we have a lot of questions that things don't really make sense to us and they feel weird, and there is a chance that it's going to explain them later in some way. But my whole thing at this point is that the presentation of how these are presented, it feels less so like a mystery that you're meant to solve, and more so like inconsistencies with things that, like, if you're writing a mystery story, right, typically you want to make it so that the reader has a chance to be able to understand what's going on before we actually get there in some way, shape, or form, or like have a feeling towards these things. Not necessarily that it has to be like a murder mystery, what's the answer at this point type thing, but I like when we're undoing the past events backstories that we were seeing before potentially, which is my understanding of this right now. It could be changed later, but my current understanding is that we're undoing the past loops events. Like, that's bullshit to me for a time looping mystery story, because I'm just like, what am I just here for a roller coaster ride of like the headphone actors or whatever? What is this? Am I meant to just sit back and enjoy the cool art, which the art is good, but like I'm supposed to be connected with these characters, and if you're undoing their backstory and changing everything about the characters as a result of that backstory, like I don't know how to feel about that. When Andy was here in the first meetings, and Andy was like, Shintaro has not acted like how he was in the initial like opening volume or whatever. Like now more than ever, it's like, okay, well now we have a reason for that, quote unquote. But like that's not a good thing. I don't think we're like, I don't know. It's a lot of things with this which rub me the wrong way when it comes to mystery genre writing, I guess. It's specifically time loop mystery writing, so yeah.
Yeah, that's why I would classify this more as just a supernatural story with mystery elements.
Yeah,
rather
guess.
than a mystery. Because it's really more focused on the supernatural elements.
Right.
Than actually trying to solve anything.
I don't even know if our characters are going to understand anything about what's going on before they all fucking die and reset the loop. Only got 3 volumes left.
I wish they had already died and reset the loop.
I did too. I thought that was going to happen like 2 weeks ago. And it kept going and going and going.
I was promised death.
Like, Momo's dead, and it looks like Hibai is about to try to kill Shintaro. But now I'm like, just like, okay, if I end this week by saying it sounds like the loop's about to end, is it going to keep going, or are we going to stop the fucking loop already? I'm going to be very upset if we end this time looping story with us having only looped once. I will be very upset, okay?
Look, chap, you asked for time loops, not time loops.
Oh, God. Well, because now we've set up the cliffhanger of, oh, I killed your sister, and now I'm about to kill you. That just makes you think he's not going to die next. Something's going to happen, and they're going to stop Hibiya, or he's at least going to get away, and somebody else is going to die. Like, you've set up this cliffhanger that makes it look like Shintaro's about to die. I have zero, confidence that he is actually about to die next. Somebody else will probably die next. I don't know who, but I don't think it's going to be Shintaro. It's fine. He'll stomp on his phone, and technically Aine will be dead. All right, but I don't know. Supposedly, that's how that's how Konoha killed her somehow. That just kills her. If you just destroy the cell phone she's on, that just works, I guess.
Yeah. It destroys the exe file.
I still think about that. Just like he murders everybody there, like shoots them and everything, and then like to kill Aine, you're just looking at Aine being crushed as a phone, and I'm just like, okay, but she's a digital program. She could just leave and go back to the computer. I know, like,
it was awesome. It was
Honestly,
awesome.
you should just shut the phone.
That would be cool. We have
That's
not
true.
reached anything even half as cool as that since.
That is true. That is very true. It's yeah.
If this, I'm going to predict that's going to be the only loop we have. Because I would say if they were actually going to loop again, the last chapter of 10 would have been him killing Shintaro and then like Kano running up and also being stabbed. And then stab NA in the phone, I guess, or something. I don't know. Just have them all die very quickly, which is how it should have happened. But
throw NA out of the window.
Oh god.
Oh, there we go. Now we're cooking.
Now we're getting so. Now we're cooking.
But then she's uploaded herself onto a Nokia. She'll survive.
It shows the phone hitting the ground right beside Momo's broken head. Anyway,
oh my god, Jesus. Yeah.
Because we only have 3 volumes left.
I was
Yeah.
promised murder, he says.
Listen, Konoha was able to kill the whole cast very quickly, okay? The whole cast. So, obviously, Hiei could do the same. He could lock in already. I mean, the whole cast is spread out throughout the city, so it's going to be a little harder to find them all, but...
It's a little tricky.
Another thing I want to bring up, okay, and we probably brought this up too, but because there was the backstory between Aine and Haruka, right? But specifically, that backstory here again ends with her about to go see him in the hospital, and then we get the news about him jumping out the window or whatever, killing himself. So my other theory that I had briefly was maybe he didn't actually kill himself. Kenjiro just took him out of the hospital, made up some story about him killing himself in some way, shape, or form, and then got him enrolled in the school, which I would understand if Aine was not also there, which I'm trying to think of like the ways that they would try to excuse this as like all making sense with the first loop. And the only way I could think of was potentially that he didn't actually kill himself. Kenjiro just wanted to sneak him out because he figured that he would be a potential to possess the eyes. And so they made it look like probably brought like a dead body from like the morgue or whatever, threw that out the window and somehow hid it in some way to where it looked like it was Konoha or Haruka that flew out the window, or I don't know how he would have done it, but he would have made it so that that it looked like Haruka killed himself. When Haruka didn't kill himself, Haruka was then brought to be a student at that school for the classroom of just him and Aine, which would make sense if Aine didn't know him, I guess. I don't know if Aine's just in on the fact that he's not supposed to be there and supposed to have killed himself or whatever.
I think we're overthinking this one.
Well, because I'm trying to think of whatever dumb excuse they would try to use for it, because that, like, if they do end up trying to tie it together and make it the first loop make sense, that's the only way I can understand that bit happening. Even if I'm ignoring the fact that Kenjiro's supposed to be dead, which... he's supposed to be dead, but if for whatever reason...
Episode's supposed to be, but you know, Kenjiro robot...
Because Ayano's so upset because Kenjiro's dead. Kenjiro and her mom are dead. So, like, if Kenjiro's not dead, like, I don't know how that makes sense. I don't... Are Ayano and Kenjiro trying to bring back their dead mom? Like, what is this? Anyways, because I'm just trying to say, like, they have to try to do something, and I don't know how they're going to try to do something to combine those loops, because if they're just separated like this, I'm just not going to, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so things are going well for our cast here. Kito's dead.
Good.
Momo's fallen down the building, you know, supposedly about to die. Okay, listen, do you think you can go through the Kagerou Daze again, like a second time? Like, do you think that she could be saved again through this? I think we're all out of eye abilities at this point, though. But you know,
Unless there's a secret 11th eye that they don't tell you about at home. That's what the man doesn't want you to know.
No, wait. You know what? You know what? They have a potential chance to bullshit and do because I don't think we actually saw her body like crash into the ground. What if she fell off the building and landed in a suicide net that they have hanging out the building or something like that?
Too.
I mean, it's supposed to be like a destroyed, abandoned looking building or whatever, I think. But what if they do something dumb like that? I don't know.
Well, what if Konoha just grabs her on the way down, you know?
Well, I mean, that scene was supposed to look very shocking because it's just Shintaro's walking through, finds Momo's phone, all of a sudden sees Momo falling off the building. And you're supposed to get the implication of she's fucking dead. But I don't think we actually see, dead guts or whatever on the ground afterwards. So if you don't see it, sometimes that potentially means that they're not necessarily dead. However, in this case, they probably just didn't show us that because that would be way too graphic for their target audience. I assume. But then again, the Kuroha murder scene was pretty graphic and sudden, so I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else that happened this week because most of it was just Shintaro connecting with Ayano in the cafeteria. They talked a bit, and then Momo was passed out, and then they brought Momo over to
Ayano's house.
Oh, Shintaro's house or somebody else's house?
Ayano's house.
Oh, Ayano's house. Okay, and then
that's where Ayano and Shintaro are sitting around talking.
And then, like, Momo wakes up.
Backstory.
Momo wakes up. Aine's like there talking with her on the phone, and without telling Shintaro or Ayano, just runs outside again.
I don't.
Yeah.
And then
she wasn't injured. She had just passed out from seeing the blood.
Sure.
Like,
she didn't feel like talking with her brother, who Aine said was there, or like the person whose house to like look with them. No, okay.
No.
So she just walked around, on her own, so that she could be meeting up with Hibiya, who can say, "Oh, can you come with me for a second? I think it's this way. I need your help. Don't worry, we're just going up 20 floors on this building. Can you look over the side there?" Like, we don't see these scenes, but there's a lot of layers.
There she is.
There's a lot of layers for her to end up at the top of that building being thrown off of it by Hibiya. Okay, like, how did Momo just didn't think any of that was weird? But then again, it's also just this child that she's been supposedly friends with, like, trying to get her to go up there, not explain the situation at all, just like, I need your help real quick at the top of the building, and then pushes her off. I assume it's pushed her off. We didn't actually see the scene that happened, but I can only assume that that's what happened.
And he starts laughing.
Yeah, well. And then the only other scene that happened was Kano being very aggressive towards Ayano, just being like, I was gonna ask for your help looking for the Hiyori person, but if you know my sister over there, then maybe I don't need your fucking help anymore. Like, okay, all right, buddy.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, there was backstory about Haruka wanting to become an artist, I guess. That was a little fact in this loop, at least.
That
by
was
the way,
the only thing, that and their interests were the only things that remained from the previous loop, because he was an artist in the previous one and she was a gamer.
Right. But then also, I've just realized too, Konoha is there. So then, did Haruka actually kill himself and become Konoha, or because the becoming Konoha thing seemed like it was like a Kenjiro experiment thing.
Yeah. We already went over this, Chaff, how it doesn't make sense because he's dead.
I know, but
the
I'm
teacher's
just like,
supposed to be dead at this point.
Well, I'm just like, there was supposed to be like the Konoha character itself was supposed to be a character that he made in a different timeline as like an artist, right? Did he draw that at all in this? I don't even remember that in this loop. But
no.
Think? Maybe?
No, because we see a dream of him having drawn Konoha, and Aine telling him Takane or whatever, telling him to erase it. It's like
Yeah.
a ominous dream.
I will
No,
say that scene too, for the official translation, by the way, she says, "Come on, rub it out." I was very weirded out by that translation choice. There was that's a very weird translation choice to do there. Why could you just say erase? Like, okay, I just wanted to bring that up because that weirded me out. I'm like, who chose that? Anyways, yeah, that I've seen that pages now, but that was all just a dream from him.
Yeah.
Of him drawing that. So supposedly, I imagine it's some view of the other timeline because they're like in school together in that. So I don't know.
I just assumed it was like some kind of bad dream, just like a maybe reminiscent of the other timelines, or just just a weird dream. No, but the whole Konoha NA stuff doesn't make sense in this loop. Not only because the teacher is dead, but because he probably does, like, in the last one it seemed that his reasoning for trying to create them was to bring back his dead daughter, but in this she's alive, so I guess the reasoning then would be his wife? Question mark? Maybe it was the wife in the first one instead of the daughter, even though it really seemed like the daughter was the purpose.
Maybe it was both in the first one.
Maybe it was both in the first one.
All I know.
Anyway.
All I know is I paid attention to the fact that the daughter took the mom's hairpins after the accident happened. So like.
Yeah, because we said last week we were like, oh, that's not. The mom's obviously not going to die, and her Ayano take her hairpins. That's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, and then it happened. Yeah.
Foreshadowing where I beat you over the head with a brick.
It's fine. Everybody in her family, okay, when they grow up, they get the same upgrade to their hairpins, okay? It's not, it doesn't mean anything. It just happens over time. That just happens with puberty, Shadow, okay? It happens, all right?
I didn't gain new clothes.
Did you have old hairpins in your hair? That's why it didn't happen with you. That's why it didn't happen with you, okay? Maybe if you had them, they would have gotten upgraded, okay? That's how that works.
Why do I use hairpins, though? They do not work with my hair.
Sometimes it's stylish, okay? I don't know what to tell you.
I do not think hairpins will work with my hair.
Yeah, well, maybe if you were a headphone actor, okay? Maybe if you were part of the Kagerou Daze, all right, you'd understand, okay? Just get yourself a set of headphones, okay? And then you can...
What does the headphones and the actors have to do with this?
Don't worry, Ari. This is not important.
I will say, where are the headphones, by the way?
Like, I assume that's a remnant of, Vocaloid and stuff.
Right,
and,
sure.
Nico Nico Doga, but
the only headphones I think I've seen throughout these volumes is just the headphones that are drawn on Kito's hoodie. I don't think we've actually seen other headphones here, except maybe Shintaro was wearing headphones when he was at his computer at the beginning. I don't remember. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's not a thematic focus. Like you said, it's probably just the connection with Vocaloid and all that. But
just Nico Nico Doga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is another case of, I don't know if I would necessarily say I hate the series. I'm more just frustrated with the series, with what's going on with it. At least this adaptation. I'd probably enjoy more. At this point, I'd probably enjoy more either the light novels or the music videos or whatever story of they're portraying at this point in time. It still has 3 volumes left. It could technically, redeem itself in my eyes.
It all makes sense at the end.
I would consider whoever writes a way to revive how they've set this up for me to be a literary genius among men. If they are able to somehow revive this for me.
So I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do it.
I severely doubt they will be able to redeem many of the issues with the story that I have in the 3 volumes that we have left, with how short each of these volumes are. Because as Ari pointed out early on in the stream, these are not long volumes. They're like 140 pages each, which is
they're pretty short.
That's short. From most manga volumes are like 200 pages or whatever. It's like 50 pages less.
like I said, the only ones that I have that are comparable to this size are the 4 ones I have, like New Game and Sasaki Miyano.
Yep, and those ones, those are shorter because they have a lot of content on each page because they only tell the stories on like 4 comma. If you're talking about like 4 comma stuff, like they only have that for like 4 panels and they load it up with a lot of stuff. New Game specifically has 4 panels, like 2 sets of 4 panels on each page or whatever. So like it's short because it's packed with a lot of stuff.
They get 8, yeah, they get 8 panels per page. That's a lot of value.
For the 4 commas especially, yeah. For this, like, and it makes the, you know, the manga style here, obviously, with the how it does this panel stuff, it makes it all look nice and cool. And I don't have any complaints about the art, really. The only complaint we've ever really had about the art, at least on my end, is the fact that Shintaro, Seto, and Haruka all look the fucking same to me. If you put them all next to each other, it's gonna be hard for me to tell them apart.
Literally.
Like, and
bro, even if they, okay, listen, even when they're colored, they still look very similar. Cause like, it's just bad silhouettes. I'm sorry, it just is. And it's just bad silhouettes. That's all there is to it. Like, if you have to have colors to tell them apart, they don't have good silhouettes.
I laughed at the one panel from this week where it was Haruka saying, this is what average looks like. Perhaps this is what being average is. And he just looks at him in a classroom, and it's just Japanese stereotypical, like, just regular dude with black hair, short black hair. That's it. Like, it's like, yeah, I get, that's literally it. Like, I can't tell you apart from another Japanese dude with black hair if you were standing right next to him and you're not wearing distinctive different clothes or whatever. Like, I'm not going to be able to tell you guys apart. So, like, if you're standing next to, like, Seto, I think is supposed to have, like, hair pins in his hair or something like that somewhere. I think he does.
Yeah, like, pinned back, I think.
Yeah, that's, like, the only thing I've been able to use to, like, tell them apart.
Remind me, I'm not sure if it's consistent, but I remember them mentioning that he kind of has, like, a frog, like, clothes on him.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay.
yes, froggy.
Sure.
Does. But because we don't see the clothes most of the time, we just see headshots.
Yeah,
it's a little tricky.
Yeah,
you can't see him frogging around.
And then here this week with the backstory with Shintaro hanging out with Haruka in the hospital, I probably wouldn't be able to tell them apart had Shintaro not shown up with several casts on his body, I guess.
And a resting bitch face.
That too. And he was just they set him on specific opposite ends of the hospital beds, and his sister would come in and argue with him at times. That was pretty much, and they made it very clear to you that he's arguing with his sister at times. I think I also want to bring up a point about those scenes.
What the fuck happened to Shintaro? That's my question.
Yes, you're right. Supposedly, Momo says he fell somehow and hurt himself a lot. And he's supposedly being admitted because he complained about the pain, but he is also complaining about being admitted at the same time. And then telling Momo to get the fuck out and leave him alone.
To be fair, Shintaro's the type that would complain about literally anything.
So
he'd complain about the pH in water.
That's true. That's true.
Hold on, what if this is very subtle foreshadowing that Momo's gonna fall off a building?
I'm just very confused at, like, we just kind of left that. We were like, yeah, he fell, he injured himself a lot. Anyways, there's no, like, some excuse for him to be hanging out with Haruka, which I don't know if we're going to get to explaining why Shintaro ended up in that hospital. And more importantly, I don't know if I care. I don't know why we had to have those scenes happen. Its only purpose was for when Haruka killed himself, Shintaro felt worse about his life. That was pretty much it. And we spent a lot of time to set that up when supposedly he already didn't want to go out anyways. It seemed like we had already set him up to already be hikikomori or whatever, or like, not wanting to go out and already distrusting of people or whatever. All this interaction has done, seemingly, has made him try to open up to somebody, and then they killed themselves as soon as he left. And now he feels bad about his life even more so. It was traumatic, yeah, but supposedly he went through some other trauma before this even happened. So and then like when Aine shows up on his computer in this loop, she recognizes him from the hospital and then also looks around at like all the trash in his room or whatever, and then she says, "I'll be your friend," as opposed to like "you're my master" or whatever.
And oh boy, what a friend she is.
Yeah. Well, so now I'm at the point when I saw that introduction where I'm just like, should I go check through the other volumes to see if she ever referred to as master in this current loop? Or are they not like because they were a master-servant kind of relationship in the previous loop because of the bet at the gaming thing.
Yeah.
But here, that never happened. And she starts off by saying, "I'll be your friend." Now I'm just like, okay, so does that mean that they never had the master-servant relationship thing? Because now I'm just trying to remember if she's referred to him as master at all in this, and I feel like she did because she stayed home and played audio files for him, for his mom to think that he was home, but I don't remember. I'm just saying.
Chef, remind me, when does the second loop start again?
I couldn't fucking tell you. Probably the third volume, fourth volume. I don't know.
All right, cool. I'll start sleuthing. You keep going.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what other events happened here because I wanted to bring up the Shintaro stuff a little bit. There's not too much to get into. That was pretty much the gist of it. Was like getting into Shintaro's connection with people and Haruka basically saying, you know, you act like you don't want to go to school because it's annoying, but like people like me can't go to school at all, and some of us want to but can't, because a lot of this is Haruka focusing on the fact that he has a ticking clock on him over his disease, and is like, basically, I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna do all this cool stuff. Hangs out with Aine, they play games outside in the cold because the hospital won't let them play them inside. Why the fuck not? It makes no. They're in a room, but like, I had questions about that, but whatever. We had to set up a way for these two to connect. Okay, fine. By the way, their initial connection was a misunderstanding. It was, she was playing a video game, wearing headphones on, and talked to herself about like, why did I have to die? This is so annoying. Like I had so much stuff I wanted to do. And he like overhears her thinking like she's talking to him, or like, and he's trying to respond back to her about his views on life or whatever. And she's just like, "Oh, sorry, I was just talking to myself. I was playing a game. Were you saying something?" And then they start hanging out and playing games together. And I'm just like, that's a interesting way to say that they meet through that. And then Aine was doing the tsundere, I guess, thing of like, she got discharged, went to go visit him again, but Shintaro is there, so she just left and never visited him. She kept going there a couple times and just couldn't push herself to actually go see him. And then the one day she went there, she found out that he had just jumped out the window. Maybe, potentially. So, I mean, that was most of the backstory for Volume 10. Was all of like that stuff. Yeah, what's up?
I found this at the start of Volume 4.
Okay, what is this? Why don't you say it out loud for the class?
She calls Shintaro master.
Okay, all right.
Like right off the bat. That's her first line dialogue in the second loop.
Leading a life of idle leisure, as always, a master. Okay, so it's not like that situation was undone. But potentially the promise didn't happen, so she would just be doing that just because of the fact that she's a program, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she's just role playing as a program. I don't know.
Role playing as a program. Who
I don't
would
know.
do that, Chef? Maybe
I don't
one
know.
person that's willing to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that we can bring up for key events that happened there. I think we pretty much talked about most of the stuff.
We covered everything.
I mean,
I'm gonna look at my screenshot real quick. If I even took any, I'm not sure if I even took any.
Like.
Oh right, it was Christmas at one point.
Yeah, they kind of brushed over Christmas. They were just like, "Yeah, happy days."
Christmas.
See, like,
actually mad.
You just see a Christmas tree in like the corner of a panel, and then we moved on from that.
Exactly. That's what matters, Chef. Okay.
I was like, "Where's Christmas? Where is it? Where's Santa? Santa wouldn't have let all this happen." If
Can
we
you
have
believe it, guys?
Santa.
Christmas. Just a
If we
week
have-
away.
if we have Medusas, we can have Santas too. I think, and elves.
elf people.
Now you're asking for a lot.
Now we're getting somewhere. Hold on, Ari. Let him cook.
I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like despite the amount of backstories we're getting, I don't know shit about our characters anymore. I feel like I was starting to, and then the understanding that these events are just being undone makes me not understand them anymore. I'm like relearning Aine's backstory and sort of Shintara's backstory, and then a little bit of Mary's backstory. Like, I don't really... We haven't even really deeply gotten into Momo's stuff, and I don't know if that's stuff that will be relevant towards this ending stuff, because they made throwaway lines here this week too in the hospital scenes about her saying that she was had an audition to go to, and then he was mad about her going to auditions because he's like, it's going to cause trouble with your eyes or whatever. That was just kind of like a thing that was thrown in and ignored or whatever. I don't know if that's going to mean that we're going to see a flashback of Momo stuff, but I'm just also here like, we don't have fucking time anymore. We don't have time. We're supposed to be getting towards a climax here pretty soon. We got to have time for climax and resolution stuff. Are we just going to get a to be continued in another piece of media ending? Or like what?
Chef, please, no, I can't take it.
I don't know. I'm not the writer. I don't know.
Continued in the answers arc.
Oh my god. So, I mean, yeah, it's a point now. It's a point now where I'm just. It has time to try to do something. I can't imagine anything that they can do that will fix the issues that I currently have. But those issues don't necessarily mean that I hated my experience. It's more just I got a little frustrated at the things that they could have done with my experience. I think I still enjoy a lot of the characters for what they could. I think my biggest issue is that we're not spending any time in the present anymore. Like,
yeah, we're kind of just in flashbacks.
I'm learning these. It's one thing if I'm just learning the backstories of these characters. It's another thing if these backstories can also be undone. Like, I'm not learning anything about these characters in the end, really. And like the very slow progress we're making in real time is now just probably going to be killing the cast members. So I'm not really going to learn anything about them still, probably. I don't know. Like I said, you gotta balance it more. You gotta balance it more with like the flashbacks and the current events, because if you're running out of time with the current day, that's your fault for not spreading out the flashbacks better earlier on. You're running out of time in the looping of days. That's your fucking fault. You were supposed to balance it out better, or like cut out some stuff and bring it into a later flashback. But now we're at a point now where like, well, all of these flashbacks are only going to be relevant for this time loop, so we have to show them. Okay, well, that's also your fault. You didn't have to do it like that. Yeah. I don't know. I really do wonder.
There's a in my head currently. Like, okay, if you're on loop 2, then what's the fucking point of loop 1? You could just start from loop 2 and more or less been good, because there's a bunch of time.
Well, that argument gets kind of tricky, especially with most time loop stories, because you could argue, like, why, for instance, why bother watching somebody play a Dark Souls boss fight for like 3 hours where they fail over and over again, where you just jump to when they won the fight? I know it's not exactly comparable for various reasons, but it's of the same mindset.
I'm saying it's an hypothetical that's loop 2, that we end on loop 2. That's hypothetical, is what I'm saying. In that hypothetical, I'm like, yeah.
Well, I mean, the tricky thing here is, again, the fact that none of our characters, except maybe Ayano, but if she does, she's not really doing anything about it, none of our characters know about the time loop thing, which is very shocking when we're about to be ending the series soon. I don't think I've really seen a time looping series do that. 'Cause most of the time, a time looping series is meant to end the loop in some way. Or like at least be conscious of the loop, somebody, so that they can experience the different
or grow
things.
Anybody.
conscious of it. So.
Like, because if
Or-
the looping mechanic is just meant for me as the reader, then it's no different than just reading a whole bunch of different AUs of the same characters over and over again. Like, I don't know. Am I crazy? I don't know.
What I assume is that there is probably at least one character from the cast that is at least semi-cognizant of the loops, but it just has not been shown to us well enough that they do.
Like, yeah, it's
Because
possible.
that's probably going to be a twist later on, that one of them either understands that there's a loop, or that they kind of think there's one. I'm stumbling on my words because I'm looking at the Discord timestamp and it's just broke now. Sorry.
Discord times.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just broke. Don't worry about it.
Oh. Yeah,
Don't
that
worry
happened in Dev Talk too. Yeah, it just breaks.
But yeah,
I wouldn't
I see,
worry
I
if
see.
I were you.
because I love characters that are cognizant of the time loops and such, or of past life things and whatnot. But here, I
Wait,
assume
hold
there's
on.
at least one that knows, but just has not been well established to us or the story as a whole.
Wait, is it even broken actually? Hold on a minute.
Let's not get into the Discord thing, okay? Ignore the Discord stuff, all right?
Ignore it. Don't look at it. Don't perceive
Then
it.
why'd you bring attention to it?
Because I couldn't stop looking at it.
We're
Stop.
not buying at that
And
point.
then-
We don't need to talk about it now. We're talking about Kagerou Daze and how its time loop is broken, okay? Listen. All right. Okay.
There are many broken clocks.
I can't see a way that you redeem this in a satisfying way. I don't. This is like, if I were to give this as an assignment to like 100 different manga artist writers or whatever, try to get them to resolve all of this in a very nice and coherent way somehow. Like, I don't know many that could pull it off.
She couldn't.
Like, I know there's a case of, like, with most mystery stories or most timeline stories, like, some people may not be happy with however these things end. You know, some people will be happy, others won't, or whatever, and, you know, this will apply for different people and different tastes in media or whatever, but here, like, there's different directions of wrong happening here. There's things logically that are wrong. There's things, pacing wise that are wrong in terms of like the character developments or whatever. There's things that are like present timeline events things that are wrong because we spent so much time focusing on the backstory, which is then just undone supposedly. And if you're trying to fix the fact that the backstories are undone by actually making it so that it all is the same time loop wise, good luck with that. Like, yeah. I don't know. The art's good. The art's good at least.
Yeah, it's good.
It like I will say the two things about it that I do enjoy. One, I do enjoy the character designs. Okay. Two, I really enjoy how easy it is to read through this stuff. But that comes at the cost of, okay, but it's also not a long series, which means it's easy to read through because there's not as much happening, which means not as much is going to get done before the series is done. How it feels. And again, maybe that's just because from our background of doing 101 episodes of this book club stuff, we've read a lot of different series that have done a lot of good things with its writing, and a lot of the series we've read is like massively big and popular, okay, with its writing and all that. Like Dorohedoro, Land of the Lustrous, like these are things where it's like
Umineko.
Umineko and all that. Like, these are literary works that are written by really, really, really good writers who have, like, they're writing so good that it's very, very popular among a lot of people. Kagerou Daze is also popular. From my experience, is more so popular for the music videos and the music, as opposed to its manga and light novel adaptations. So I don't know, trying to make music video stories exciting, the threshold seems, I wouldn't say easier, but like more forgiving than it would be for a coherent time loop manga story, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, with a lot of music video stories, from what I understand, a lot of them can be very interpretive of the events that are happening. A lot of them can more just be like going off of the visuals of what's happening. A lot of them can be more so going off like the vibes of what's happening, and you're supposed to piece it together. A lot of it, is left vague on purpose, both because of the time constraint and also thematically or like story-wise with things. And then they expand upon that in later songs or whatever. Like, there's a lot more you can do with the fact that that medium does not have to be a traditional like story, if that makes sense, as compared to this where it does have to be a story. Yeah, I don't know. And also, I don't know what rules they were given when they were told to make this adaptation. Like, Jin had set up all the whatever rules they did with the previous Kagerou Daze stuff they'd worked on, I assume. So now it's a question of like, what rules did he establish with himself when he was writing this? Because is he following previous rules that he established for the timeline stuff, and that's basically has to apply here too? Like, that will also restrict the things that they could do with this. I'm not sure. So, I don't know. A lot of stuff. Most of it makes me nervous for the future of this, but, I'm just saying, I don't know if I'm in a way, I am excited for the ending just to see what they did. But again, I'm at the point where I don't know if they're ever going to be able to redeem this for me in terms of my issues. But it's not going to be that I hate the series. It's more so going to be that when people ask me how was the Kagerou Daze manga, I'm going to say you should probably check out the music videos or light novels.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get to that point. It's not that I hate it, and not that I wouldn't say that you shouldn't read it. It's that you're probably going to have a better experience with those things, is all. And this is to say nothing about the art, which is the most important factor of the manga adaptation. The art is really, really good. I like the art. But I don't know. Yeah. A lot of my issues with the story detracts from the art, I guess, in ways. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's just all right.
Cool. Based.
I mean, that's kind of really all I have to say. Like, it's just all right. Like, I've been over my gripes with it so far. I think it would be better if it was just a more straightforward supernatural time loop. I came in expecting to see these kids being put in sad situations in a time loop, and I haven't gotten that yet. We had the wonderful scene of Konoha killing everyone. Like, that was nuts. That was great. And we have just been kind of at a snail's pace since then.
Yeah.
I wanted more drama, I wanted more action drama, not backstory spoken drama. Like, these are kids. They should be in action stuff, not sitting here having feuds.
Yeah. When I think about backstories adding on to what's happening with them, I always think about Lost, which is unfortunate because Lost is at least in the early seasons, I think is one of the greatest written stories ever for like how they handled the writing of that series. And Lost, for any of you who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, like, each episode focuses on the backstory of one character, but it's they're all trapped on an island, but it focuses on the backstory of the one character. But it does so by equally progressing events that are happening on this island while also jumping to that backstory of that character. All these people on this island, nobody knows anything about from each of them, and they don't really share a lot of those things directly with some of these people. And some of these people have very different backgrounds before the plane crash than they do on the island. And so it does a very great job thematically in those episodes of showcasing the things that they're dealing with on the island and then the things that they were doing back home before getting onto the island. And it does really well at doing that. Here, it would have benefited from balancing it out more like that. What this series does instead is it focuses all the backstory in one go for that character. We don't like stop to pause for why this is relevant or whatever, because for most of these cases, it's not relevant to the current events happening for most cases. It'll be like Aine says some one-off line to Kano, and then we jump into Aine's backstory. Or like Ayano is sitting down in a cafeteria with Shintaro, and now we're learning all about the Mukakushidan when they were kids. And it's like, but that doesn't have to do with Shintaro himself. He's learning about it, and that's how we learn about it. But it would have been better if we learned about the Mukakushidan events from just seeing those flashbacks as we're seeing like Kano discovering like Kito's dead body or like something else. Like just seeing bits and pieces of that spread out as opposed to just dumped to us all at once at moments where it feels like they shouldn't be there. But it's weird though, because this writing also gives it excuse for it to do that because Ayano has the favoring eyes where she can send emotions and memories directly to other people. That's why we got it all at once several times here. It's because she could do that. But you don't need to do that to show us these things too. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm being unfair to the series just because I keep comparing it to other series, but also, I mean, it's just other series have handled this type of stuff better. And I don't know why you wouldn't just utilize those kind of tools, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Shadow, what did you think?
Yeah. He might not be back. He said
Oh.
BRB.
Oh, okay.
Shadow thinks that it's the best things in sliced bread.
You know what? Maybe he does. Maybe he's enjoying it, and we're just ruining his day. Other
True.
brief side point I wanted to bring up, okay? I was making the background thumbnail thing for this. They stopped using colors except red on these volume covers, by the way. After like volume 4, I think, or 5 or something. It's been very red covers. There are other colors there, sure, but all the signs in the back, the like yield signs, are all red, and there's more and more of them on each of the covers. And now I think last week and this week have had featured characters whose primary like clothing color is like red. You got Momo over here with a red hoodie, or like reddish looking hoodie, and then Shintaro on the other side with a red hoodie as well. But then you have Konoha, but Konoha's shirt is white, and then like a couple bits on his outfit are like green. It's like very red color. I noticed this while I was working on the thumbnail. I was like, this is very red, and last week's was also very red. I don't know, and like they have red eyes too, but like we don't see that in the manga itself, I guess. But yeah, yeah, I just want to point that out. Very, very red covers after the like first few manga, and I don't know if that changes. Let me open up volume 11 and see. Volume 11 is very red on the cover. Volume 12. All right, volume 12's got blue. It's like half red, half blue. And then volume 13. Okay, mostly red with a little bit of blue. So we got very red covers after like I want to say the first 6 volumes maybe. Very red. A lot of it is red because of the signs behind them, but even in the early volume color covers, it was good at like hiding those signs behind our character designs better, so that they weren't taking up as much of the cover for the colors, I think. I noticed it as a pattern, so I wanted to bring it up. I also wanted to bring up that one of the past manga covers, I think for volume 3, like we like volume, the first 3 volumes was also incorporating like general city backgrounds and stuff. Like volume 3 has Aine and Haruka on a street that's like curved or whatever. So like they're hanging on a street with like the signs and stuff, and it looks very cool. And I think some of the other ones had like buildings behind them. But then for most of these other ones, the later ones, there's just a lot of yield signs above them. Perhaps
Yeah.
that's thematic for the timeline
You
change or
cannot
whatever.
proceed, Shep. You must stop.
Maybe. Shadow, what have you been thinking about this week's reading, the series in general so far? Your thoughts of the
So I've been
future?
thinking what Ari was saying earlier, and in my head, I'm like, you know what? This kind of reminds me of another video game where like they explain this backstory and all this thing. It's like when the appropriate amount of context is, when you almost die, you might survive and gain psychic powers, and that's all you really need. And it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, honestly. Like all you just need is like, oh, for some supernatural reason, sometimes for a few select children, if you and someone you care about die at the same moment at the same place, you might have get powers. I don't need any more than that. I don't need some big Medusa backstory of how humanity hated her and so forth and such. Especially, mainly because the series is so short.
Yeah.
If it were more fleshed out, longer, more time loops, I'd be fine. But anyway, go on, Shadow.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I will say, like, we know of several. Book club started with us reading Fire Punch, which was about just people in the world had sometimes just had these different powers, and like people were abusing those powers. So that was a very different story, but like it was a whole, all sorts of like My Hero Academia. People were born with some powers. You just have it.
Bring it back.
I've
Dorohedoro.
read enough shonen. I don't need a big explanation for powers and fantasy. I don't. I
Sure.
care about the characters and where the plot's going.
Like here, the reason why we focus on the method of it, I assume, is because it wants us to focus on the trauma aspect of it, which I would understand. If I feel like it's hard to dissect. At least, again, this is all from the perspective of the manga adaptation. The other ones might be better at this, but if the focus is supposed to be on the trauma of things, the manga's not doing a good job at me focusing on that. Because I just keep learning about these backstories of the other people and trying to focus on what's happening in the current timeline or whatever too, when it occasionally decides to progress itself. And I'm just like, am I supposed to? I feel like, because even the part where Ayano is very upset after the car accident, mudslide thing or whatever, the accident that kills her parents, and is upset with them and is yelling at them, like, it's so jarring and sudden that I don't really get to feel her grief over her parents. I just feel the rage at these people, the Mikakushi-dan, just for being there at that point. So I'm not really feeling the trauma connection, thematic focus of it, even though the fact that they have their abilities through that stuff is supposed to be a focus of it. Like, all these people are here and have these abilities because they've directly dealt with a very traumatic moment at some point in the past that ended up like killing them or putting them in a near death experience to bring them back. And it doesn't really feel like it's done much to change them as a person as a result. The only thing that, I mean, growing up, we saw them with Kakushidan dealing with some stuff growing up, but it was mostly just feeling different from other people. And I guess that's a thing you could focus on, but I don't feel like it does a lot with that. Like focusing on being traumatized, how that makes you feel different from other people. Like other people are living life like nothing happened, but you had a traumatic thing happen, so it's affecting you. But they're more being viewed as like people think I'm a monster and that I stand out over the fact that I've been traumatized by something before. I don't know.
If Ayano was so sure that Mary was the problem, I feel like they're really because they in these volumes they tell us three things. One, that Ayano's power when she died was that she was shown all of Azami's memories and therefore has concluded that she is the cause of this, which is correct, though we aren't quite sure if she's correct in the assumption that killing Mary will be this. Two, she is very sure that killing Mary will end these powers, either stopping them in the future or just erasing them in general for good. And three, she at least partially believes that she has gone insane because of this revelation. Because there's that one part where she's like, "No, I believe, once I voiced this opinion, that was when I was truly insane." But yet, we don't really see her do anything with that. We see her come back and confront them about her hypothesis, I suppose, her siblings with this hypothesis. And they, like, I think one of them slaps her and that's it, and then they all leave. But if that were the case, if she were so sure about this thing, she doesn't have any parents now. Her siblings have all moved out and they all apparently don't talk to her at all. It just feels like the Ayano we see in this loop is just kind of very tonally different from this backstory that we have suddenly been given for her. She seems to just not be doing anything to change the future in any sort of way. Like, I don't understand what her motivations are in these, despite spending an entire volume on her and trying to give us her motivations. I don't see what she is trying to do in the future, in the present day. She thinks that she is so sure that Mary is the problem, but she's not doing anything about it. She's also believes that she herself is insane because of this knowledge. And we see a little bit of that when she first appears in front of Hibiya, but then we never see that side of her come back again. I just don't I just don't get stuff. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. It again, there's a non-zero chance that all of our questions will be answered in the next 3 volumes. There's also a very
also a
non-zero
non-zero
chance that it will be completely ignored and we'll just move on to other people's backstories instead. Like,
There's also a non-zero chance it ends like Rose and Maiden, which would be very funny for me.
Shut up,
simply.
shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
there's a whole Kagerou Daze sequel manga that we never knew about, and then
Yeah, Kagerou Daze.
and then when we go to check it out, it's actually just another alt timeline Rose and Maiden thing, which makes it worse or whatever I think you guys said. So, well,
But yeah, the more I've talked about it, the more, because I didn't come into this really not understanding Ayano, but the more we've talked about it, the more I'm like trying to dissect it and just not coming up with anything. Because my initial coming into, I was upset about the Na Konoha backstory in the hospital, because while it was cute, it just added nothing to it. But now I'm leaning more towards being mad at Ayano's backstory, because it's just so much, not like, it just doesn't add up to anything. This does not, the backstory we're given to her does not lead us to the girl that we see in front of Shintaro now. She's just, I don't know.
well, I mean,
I
again,
don't know, gamers.
my confusion as well with Ayano is that supposedly if it wasn't for the freaks with the red eyes, like the people that were living with them, her family wouldn't have died, right? Supposedly they wouldn't have died, and that's why she seemingly was so upset with them, and then they left. But then she's immediately trying to help Hibiya, which raises a couple questions to me. She's seeking out and trying to help Hibiya. Is it because she knows that Hibiya is the Clearing Eyes and is trying to stop the Clearing Eyes? Or because my assumption has been that he became the Clearing Eyes at the same time that Ayano had the accident. That's been my assumption after this week, which would imply that Ayano showing him the flashback backstory stuff, like the Clearing Eyes guy either doesn't care or already knows. And so none of that really mattered for anybody except us, the readers. And so I'm trying to just wonder, like, what Ayano's goal is currently, because supposedly she does not like the Mikakushidan. Supposedly she is trying to help them find Hiyori, but is she doing it to kill them all, or is she doing it like, why is she doing this? Why is she? Because supposedly she doesn't like these people, but now she's trying to help them. So I don't know what's going on with her with all this, with the backstory that's been established to us in this loop. I would assume she wanted nothing to do with them after all of that, but she is directly inserting herself into this now.
Yeah, because my ideas would be either she has nothing to do with them, she does not want to be anywhere near them, she hightails it the other direction if she ever sees them, or she is an antagonist. She antagonizes them. She directly tries to get them to split up from Mary. She wants to be back with them, but does not want Mary to be a part of that. But we don't see anything even close to either of those. I guess the one we see more similar of is the first one, where she doesn't really have much to do with them, but she kind of does, but she's just kind of here and there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a
'Cause it's
lot. Yeah.
It's just more yapping. It's a lot easier with NA and Konoha's backstory, because it's pretty uniform. They're pretty uniform characters. Their motivations are still pretty clear to us. Like, oh, NA is, stuck in this computer program, even though she knows she had this whole past life. And she wants to reunite with Haruka once she discovers that he's alive as Konoha. But for now, she's just kind of enjoying her neat life, just being a computer program. Pretty simple, just a girl who's a computer program.
Or
But,
just malware.
just a malware girl. But, yeah. Yeah, I need to stop talking. I need to stop talking.
I can't wait for next week when we go to read it, and it's another Eine Haruka backstory
Stop.
for like the whole
Stop.
volume
Stop.
again.
Stop.
I can't wait
Stop
for
it.
that. I can't.
No.
wait.
No. This time we're going to go back to no, because we had Seto and Mary's backstory this loop, didn't we?
Yes.
I think so. Darn it. I was gonna say we're gonna have that again, but it's gonna be slightly different. Just slightly.
Hey, Yari, you want to know what the one difference is?
What?
Mary gets the food from the critters this time.
Yeah, there we go.
It's possible.
No white.
All right, we do have a few afterwards here that I'll read real quick. Volume 9, Jin's afterward. Congratulations, and thank you too. Jin here. The manga version of Kagerou Daze is finally at its 9th volume, and the story only gets darker and darker. I like to try bringing the characters in a brighter direction any way I can. I'll do my best on that. Don't worry.
Well.
It's going in a very bright direction, I'm sure.
Well.
Next up in Volume 9, Sidu. Congrats on Volume 9 of the manga. All these strained relationships make me sad, and it's like a angry-looking Hibaya, I think. This is next to, I guess. Then we have Mahiro Satou, the artist. It's Volume 9. Thank you very much. I'm so happy you picked up this volume. Thank you. I've been under the weather a lot for this past winter. Gastroenteritis? Some kind of stomach thing.
Scary stuff.
Some kind of stomach thing. And then it says the flu, conjunctivitis. It was a season of setbacks and comebacks. The fever was pretty bad, but I pulled through. I spent the whole time I was working on this collected volume wondering what kind of illness would greet me next. But luckily, Volume 9 released without anything happening. Good thing for that. Good health is definitely something to appreciate, huh? Too bad I have to go to the dentist now. How depressing. Here's hoping all of you remain in good health. If I remember correctly, didn't they also in the last afterwards say that they had a child? Do they have a child now that they're taking care of too, or something? I think I remembered somebody saying that. Let me check. Mahiro. Yeah, a little personal business. Namely, I gave birth to a child last year, so they have a child that's like at least a year old ish, probably by this point. Now they're also having all these issues as well, so that's fun. Sorry to hear that, Mahiro. Also, this was years ago, so it's not like you're going through it now, but sorry to hear that you went through it, I guess. Volume 10's afterwards. We start with Jin. This is Jin, the writer. We've now made it to the illustrious 10-volume mark in the Kagerou Daze manga. It's all thanks to Mahiro Sensei's hard work and all the support all of you provide. Here's hoping that you'll continue to wonder how the story will turn out. I'll keep working hard on it. And then you have Sidhu, who did a drawing of, or there is a drawing, I don't know if Sidhu did it, there is a drawing of an Ane with human Ane, which is Takane, I think, with the hospital outfit, the hospital gown. It says, congrats on the release of Volume 10. Volume 10 was a mix of emotions for me, fear over how things would turn out, and joy at seeing so much of Takane in a hospital gown, since I totally love seeing her in that. Thank you for that, Sidhu. And then Mahiro Sato's afterword for Volume 10. We're finally at Volume 10. When this series began, never in my dreams did I imagine we'd hit double digits in the volume count. Based on the talks I had with my editor before we began, we figured a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It fills me with joy to be involved with a story that so many people love. Things have been getting pretty dark lately, but hopefully we'll see the characters smiling again before long. Here's hoping to see you in the next volume. Don't worry, they'll be smiling pretty soon, I'm sure. There was also one bonus little comic panel thing or whatever, which is just Shintaro in his hospital bed with all his casts on, and it's just him thinking, I hope Tono-chan's doing okay. The rabbit, who we've not addressed in ages.
Ever.
You know, it was a plot point at the beginning of this time loop. It was a plot point at the beginning of this time loop. Okay, we fed the rabbit at some point though when we came home. But you know, do you think the rabbit is the key to everything? Might be.
Probably. The rabbit is the one that knows about the loops.
Oh, he sees everything. He knows everything. If only we could talk to rabbits.
Exactly.
I see. All right. Well,
wait, hold on.
Yep.
I tried to mention. Does that mean the rabbit's been traumatized multiple times because they keep looping?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
That's what looping does to you. It traumatizes you.
Usually, but usually, yeah. All right. Well, anything else we want to bring up before we wrap it up for this week?
Oh, I like to mention, I enjoy you two just very slightly losing it. Just a little bit.
I think I've lost him more than Ayano has. Truly, I've suffered. No, I'm not.
Listen. He's going through stuff, and I'm just like, okay, it sucks you're going through these things, but listen, what about the logic of the writing? Okay, that's more of an issue than whatever trauma you're going through, Shintaro. All right, I need you to understand this. I know you just saw your sister fall off the roof of the building. All right, it's very tragic, very graphic, but I just want to know, like, where's Kenjiro? Like, how is he alive? How did Ane become a thing on your phone in this loop? Your sister, we can figure that out later, okay? All of you were supposed to be murdered in the streets by Kudoha or whatever ages ago, but not in this loop, okay? He's cured now. He's better. All right, anything else?
Oh yeah, about my thing with the big explanations. Like you can definitely get away with it. Problem is, it needs to relate to the main characters in at least some way. Because with the snake stuff, it's I don't know. It's kind of like its own thing, more or less.
At this point, I just assume we're gonna do a whole the Kagerou Daze snake talking to them, being like, we've been doing countless weird things to the timelines. We can make anything possible with our powers, with reality. We can bend it all until we eventually get the outcome of the desired wish of the original Azami or whatever, wanted life forever. And so we're doing all this to find a route in which Mary can't die or something. I don't know. It's gonna be something dumb like that, where it's just like we're just using snake powers to make whatever happen behind the scenes, without regards for all these other details. Probably, because this might just be a thing that you're meant to just enjoy as an experience. You're not supposed to think too critically about this stuff, and that would be our mistake as a book club. I don't know.
Pandora Hearts.
Like, I'm just
Our
supposed to.
mistake was thinking.
Pandora Hearts was at least trying to do things thematically with the trauma. This one was just like, all right, these people feel alienated by the fact that they've faced trauma, but I'm not feeling that alienation.
Yeah.
Like, the only time I really feel the alienation is just the fact that we have Haruka and Aine being in a class separate from everybody else, but that was because of Mad Scientist guy doing weird things. So I'm not seeing the alienation. I'm seeing them alienate themselves, and we're not even focusing on the fact that they're alienating themselves, except for a little bit for Shintaro. So I don't even really see that, I guess. I don't know. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. There was a depiction of that, and it was Mary attempting to walk outside for like 3 seconds and immediately being kidnapped almost, and then her mom had to die to save her. Like immediately, which is like a goofy way to showcase that stuff.
Funny.
We already went over this. It was just like, oh, let me just go outside once, like 3 feet. Oh, 2 guys are just waiting outside to kidnap me already. Okay, well, happens. Listen. All right. Yeah. Anything can happen. Got 3 volumes to do it. Okay. So, reminder. So, next week we're going to be reading volumes, 11 and 12. And then the final week we're going to be doing volumes 13 and a quiz. Oh my God. I'm sure everybody's excited for the quiz. I have fun with the quizzes, by the way. I have fun with them. I do, however, hope that the quiz is not just 2 people. I hope it's not just 2 people. We'll see.
We'll finally have it, mano a mano.
Mano a mano for Ari's favorite series, I'm sure. She'll have all the details ready. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We might see another Land Illustrious, who knows?
Another Land Illustrious? What happened for that one?
I laughed everyone.
Oh, I mean, it's possible. Yeah, so anything else we have before we wrap up for this week? We have surprisingly longer about this than I expected, considering how much didn't happen.
I think when we're talking about the series in general, I think that was a lot of it, honestly.
I mean, yeah, because we're at the point now where we're dissecting a lot, because we're getting towards the end, so we're dissecting a lot of, like, where it's going wrong, I guess. I don't know. It feels like it's going wrong, at least, so. Anything else?
Nope.
Thoughts, concerns, anything? Okay, cool. All right, so thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in for this week. I don't know if there's a way for me to fix it to have the other pre-show stuff from before. Probably not, so it means that stuff is probably going to be missing. Whatever. I will try to figure out a way to never have that happen again with the YouTube stuff, because if that happened in the middle of us talking, that would have been like half the show that got screwed by that. So I'm going to have to figure out and see if there's a way to never have that happen on the YouTube side. And then hopefully that will never happen. We are also going to be in the Discord server on Saturday. We're going to be continuing our watch through of Pandora Hearts, the anime. We're going to be watching episodes 13 to 18, I think, next. So we're going to be doing that. So that's Saturday at around 12 Eastern time. And next Thursday, we'll be back here at the usual time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, to talk about volumes 11 and 12 of Kagerou Daze. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. You can find us at twitch.wolfborg.com, youtube.wolfborg.com, kick.wolfborg.com. With the next series, we'll also be on Spotify. I'll figure out all that, and then the next series, this is when that'll begin. If you wish to become a part of the book club, either just yapping with us in the text chats or joining up with us here on the voice chats, you can join discord.wolfborg.com. And you can grab yourself the Anime Book Club role in there, and you become part of the family, okay? We're all going to Olive Garden together. Don't worry about it. What else? Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. We appreciate you all. Appreciate our guests for being here. Let's see who we're going to raid this week. Who is there? No, we're not doing that stuff. We're going to... All right. I think, yes. Okay, Rudy is streaming. I think she's doing Spooky Grab Bag of Games. I don't know which one she's currently playing. What's she currently playing? Is it like the... Oh, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. Oh, boy. She might be starting it or finishing it. I don't know. But enjoy that. Stay safe, gamers. I appreciate you all. We'll see you next week as we get closer to the end of Kagerou Daze. Will we ever find our answers to the Kagerou Daze? Will we ever find out what's going on with the timeline? Will we ever meet the rabbit again? Will will the forest critters come up again? Will people die?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Of
cool.
course people will die. I mean, what?
All right,
Every
well,
comedy has a little bit of murder, chap. Okay.
okay, well, goodbye, gamers. Bye bye. Bye bye.